AI, which is dominating so many of the conversations and news headlines across the country. One of the things we're talking about is if some jobs are going to go away, a lot of data entry jobs, customer service jobs over the phone, then what types of jobs will replace it? Specifically, what should people be looking at?
So one of the biggest areas we already mentioned is law and regulation, governance, and that's going to take somebody with a new set of skills. You don't just need a lawyer or a politician. You need somebody that understands at a technical level how AI systems function. So you're going to be looking at people that maybe go in and get an engineering degree in computer science or a technical field, electrical engineering, and then go on to become an attorney, and they sort of understand how do we implement these things. So there are going to be these new sort of hybrid careers, but anywhere that there needs to be a human interface.
Healthcare, hands-on healthcare.
So I'll give you two examples that I think would be great. One is AI is very quickly gaining the diagnostic ability that exceeds any doctor. It's going to be able to look at our system, tell us what's wrong with us better than any doctor.
But it can't do your surgery.
But I'll pause you there.
I am a robot. I am your surgeon.
I mean, they're using robotics in medicine.
Yeah, they are. I take back what I said.
Robotics, with nanobites, there's a lot of things coming down the pipeline that will make that possible. But if I'm being told that I have 3 months to live, do I want a machine to tell me that? No. I need a doctor that's providing more holistic care and helping interface. So this is why I always talk about things at the level of interface. Yeah. The same thing with finance. Very quickly, financial analysts are going to be obsolete because an AI is going to be able to perform what a room full of financial analysts can do in seconds.
My son has actually used AI to set his budget for how he can pay for grad school.
Wow.
And one of the things it told him was to just save your paycheck and have your parents pay for your moving. That's
great advice.
Working, right? Yeah. No, but he actually has a budget, and he actually has how much he has to save per month to be able to pay for grad school. And it laid it out, as we know, within seconds. All right, another job, speaking of what you were saying earlier, I want a doctor to tell me where. One of the other areas that is important, although it's in competition right now, is psychology.
Yes. I know mental health professionals who use chat and they use AI as their own therapist, which can sometimes be alarming, but as humans, we crave human connection. We need eye contact. We need to shake a hand. Telehealth is fantastic if you don't have other options, but having that connection and face-to-face, that dialogue going back and forth is so important. We cannot overlook that.
But what I worry about, Dr. Rosen, especially is with kids, they almost don't care about that. They just want someone to say, I hear you.
I just need the words.
And now we know 1 out of 8 kids is going to chat or some AI tool for mental health resource therapy treatment to speak, and that's concerning because if I'd say, don't you want to sit in a room with a person, they say, not really. I don't want to have to share all my stuff.
Is sharing and feeling like you still feel like even though we know it's going to be a safe space in a relationship,
less
the judgment,
vulnerable.
Less vulnerable. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you can tell the absolute truth to your chat,
and your chat's not going to really challenge you. It's not going to
We
challenge.
grow through being challenged,
exactly.
Though. And so it's just affirming all of our bad habits and tendencies.
And that leans into something that Deborah mentioned earlier is we can, through certain protocols, even with something as basic as Grok, ChatGPT, you can begin to train it with your tonal preferences. I do this with my book. I'm writing a book, and I anticipate being attacked in a lot of directions, and I love that. I love people to challenge my ideas.
We have like 5,000 PhDs, so you've been in front of them before when we tear your stuff apart.
So I love that. To me, that's invigorating. So I specifically designed a GPT to be an expert in multiple different fields of technoculture, technology, anthropology, psychology, phenomenology, and I tell it, just rip me apart. Every time I present an idea, you tell me all the reasons I'm wrong, because if my ideas can stand against that kind of pushback, then I can stand behind my ideas.
But that's an example of you using chat, and AI is you only get as good as you put in, and you are using it in such an expert way that you're really optimizing it.
Going to the jobs that we talked about, you touched on, you said electric, the word electric. Okay, so David asked this question: why does it take so much electric power to run AI applications? Is our power grid going to be able to handle the increased demand? So you touched on that when you said like during the storm, people are home and people are using it. So answer that question. Then also, speaking of what types of jobs to go into, we said that when we had electric cars and not enough ports to power those up. But that's another area for employment.
Exactly, and that's why I actually mentioned Centerpoint. So, at the time that we're doing this, we've just come out of this freeze in Houston, and so sometimes we don't think of the sort of non-glamorous, the people behind the scenes. Like, I used to work with a lot of heavy metal bands, and everybody knows the band on stage, but nobody thinks about the roadies, the people that are in the backgrounds keeping the show running. And so there's the ability to produce large amounts of power, which we're going to need to generate the power demand, or to meet the power demands of people adopting AI at a higher level. And we think of power generation, but that's really, to me, not the issue. It's the ability to deliver that power through a stable grid and a stable network. And so I think you're going to see an exponential rise in personnel that are staffed with energy companies and infrastructure companies out there. There was a $6 billion contract recently for fiber optics, just to increase bandwidth for making sure that more people have accessibility to high-speed internet, because you're going to need that high-speed internet to transmit the data.
Okay, let me tell you, my mind kind of went someplace when you said bandwidth. I was like, you used to work with a heavy metal band. And
I know.
I like the way you tied that in.